Yeah, we back. Yeah, we back. Now today we're gonna have a funny conversation, right? So I was chilling, minding my business. Then I seen this lady on social media, right? She said this: white women were the first people white men colonized. And basically, what this lady was trying to say is that white women were actually also victims of European colonialism, right? And it's a sentiment that I've heard before. Really, you hear this the most around feminist circles, because they try to make the argument that because of patriarchy, then automatically all women from all groups, due to the patriarchy, are all victims of oppression. So then by extension, what they say is because white women are also women, they can also be classified as victims of oppression. And that's what we're going to be dismantling in today's video. Now, as a student of history, I can tell you for a fact that white women were absolutely not victims of any type of oppression during the colonial project. In fact, I would go on to say that they were direct participants, right? They were right there in the passenger seat. They was counting the money. They was living in the colonial mansions. They was living in the colonies. They was in the churches. They was, rocking the fabrics. They was standing right next to the white man the entire time and raising his kids. And when you look at the prominent European colonists of that era, right? When you think about a Thomas Jefferson, when you think about a Napoleon Bonaparte, when you think about Pierre Victor Baudemalouet, when you think about certain individuals who are men of high status during that era, right? Who are their mothers? Who are their sisters? Who are their grandmothers? Who are their godmothers? Those women actively supported and actively encouraged those men to do what they did. The same exact way how on the black man's side, every step along the way, the black woman was right there, standing right next to the black man, whether through good times or bad times. When the black man was doing dirt, when the black man was, leading the revolution, right? The black woman was right there. She was involved. She was right there. You know what I'm saying? So why would it be different for the white woman? And I think part of the issue is a woman like this is trying to attach a modern feminist lens to the women who may have lived during that time in the past, right? Those women did not look at themselves through the lens of gender identity, right? Those women look at themselves as part of a nation, and a nation has national interests, and those national interests must be defended in order for me and my family to enjoy peace and prosperity, right? And if during that time, peace and prosperity meant the enslavement of the blacks, right? The torture and massacre of the blacks, then guess what? The white woman, she was all on board. The black woman, she was with it. In fact, she was involved in it. She enjoyed it. She participated in the murders and the bloodshed. She enjoyed every step along the way. She was right there. She was a bloodthirsty, sanguinaire, just like her man, just like her husband, just like her brother, just like her father. And I think one of the main reasons that we cannot allow, white women to escape accountability like this is because that same grace is not granted to our ancestors. Our female ancestors were never given that grace, right? You see, like back during that time, if the black man got caught, guess what? The women and children, they wasn't spared. For example, I remember back during the Haitian Revolution, right? There was a General Jacques Moepa. He was the commander of one of the northern cities when the French invaded, and he actually defended the city successfully and beat back the French, right? But eventually he was caught, and when he was caught, they didn't just kill him. No, they killed his wife and they killed his kids, right? His wife never took up arms against no government, right? His wife didn't do nothing. She was guilty of simply being his wife, right? Simply due to the fact that you standing behind this dude, we killing you too, right? So obviously, as you can see, that same grace was not given to our women, our ancestors, right? They treated them and gave them the same accountability as the black man. So now we're not going to let the white woman sneak out the back door and say she was a victim and an innocent bystander. No, you was right there counting the money, man. You was right there, wearing them expensive fabrics. You was right there at the parties, sipping on the tea, right? You was right there on the sugar plantations, barking out orders. You was right there managing the plantations and all that, managing the factories and the refineries. You was right there. You was right there. We have direct written testimony from black men who was alive during that time, and they told us you was right there. Now, anyways, man, let's take a look at some of the reactions on social media. But before we get into that, you already know, album out now. Album available everywhere. Apple Music, Spotify. Go to the homepage of my YouTube channel, my playlist section, Sahel 1816. Enjoy yourself, man. Now, let's get back into it. Let's take a look at the reactions. This person said, "This is not true. And it doesn't matter. You guys enthusiastically supported slavery, colonization, eugenics, even feminists supported apartheid South Africa. So please stop trying to erase your roles in the crimes of white supremacy." Absolutely. Let's continue. This person said, "This is absurd. There is no civilization ever where the women were against colonization. They liked having slaves and servants and the wealth just as much as anyone else. More, actually. And that's a fact. Right? When you read back on the written testimony of that time that describes the white women, listen, They enjoyed the colonial system. They enjoyed the colonial project, the luxuries and amenities that came with colonialism. They didn't have no sympathy about it, bro. They would beat a black woman to death. You know how many stories I done read about white women that beat black women to death, bro? You think just because they was women, they would have that, innate nurturing spirit. No, bro, they was right there, bro. They was right there. Like I told you, they was right there. Let's continue. This person said, Professor Curry, he said this is what happens when gender theory overwhelms historical accuracy. This person said, this is essentially feminism in its rawest form. Absolution of all female faults and the condemnation of the male group. The all-purpose social weapon with the variety of defense and offense functions appropriated to the identity subset of the female wielder. Now listen, I ain't never seen a dodge of accountability like this, brother. They trying to sneak out the back door and say they wasn't there in the European colonies. Man, you was there. We have testimony during the time you was there. Listen, we know you was there. Let's continue. This lady said, it is 2025. The time of y'all hiding behind the men that you raise, marry, procreate, and benefit from the actions you are partner to and pretending to the world that I'm a victim to is over. Also, you voted for Trump, so miss us with the BS. And that's a fact, man. That's a fact. Now, like I mentioned before, we have direct written testimony during the time of black men who was walking around during that time of what they thought about white women. So to make it seem like you wasn't there or you were innocent bystander, we ain't going for it. And that's what I'm about to get into right now, right? Now, a while ago, I dropped a series. If you look at my playlist section, you'll see a playlist entitled The Colonial System Unveiled. And I was reading a book that was written and released back in the year 1814, right? Under the regime of King Henry Christophe, the king of Haiti, during that time. And this book was released officially by his government. And take a look up on the screen. The Colonial System Unveiled is a book by a Haitian writer and politician, Baron de Vastey. Originally published in French in 1814, it is possibly the first systemic critique of colonialism ever written. Now, we're about to see what the black man back in 1814 was saying about the white women. Now, let's continue. Before we jump into it, take a look up on the screen. They talking about the author of the book, right? Baron de Vastey. They said this. He served as secretary to King Henry Christophe and tutor to Christophe's son, Victor Henri. Vastey also claimed to have fought in Toussaint's army and is said to have been the second cousin of the French novelist and playwright Alexandre Dumas. Now, the author of the book was one of Christophe's, close associates, one of the men, part of the Privy Council, one of his right-hand mans, right? So he wrote this book, right? So now we're about to jump into what he said, right? Now, keep in mind, during this time when this book came out, Christophe was at the height of his power, right? Christophe was at the height of his wealth and power, and Baron de Vastey, that was his right-hand man. So he was also, rich, powerful black man, enjoying all the luxuries and amenities of power. So we're going to hear what he thought of white women during the time, when he wrote this book, right? If you want to hear me read the entire book, go to my playlist section, The Colonial System Unveiled. I read the entire book, right? But I'm going to jump into a clip, just a small clip where he spoke about the white women, right? Run the clip. I'll be right back.
This is especially true for the white women, who are even more tainted with prejudice, the majority of them being foul-mouthed jades or wretched creatures escaped from beset, who were brought to our shores as a result of their shameful conduct. These vicious and arrogant women cannot look upon the adornments and beauty, the elegant form and expressive charms of our incomparable Haitian women without a feeling of bitter dejection and fatal resentment. Man, nah, we gotta run that back. This was especially true for the white women, who were even more tainted with prejudice, the majority of them being foul-mouthed jades or wretched creatures escaped from beset, who were brought to our shores as a result of their shameful conduct. These vicious, arrogant women could not look upon the adornments and beauty, the elegant forms and inexpressible charms of our incomparable Haitian women without a feeling of bitter dejection and fatal resentment. For men of such arrogance, and especially for women so vain and presumptuous, this humiliating contrast was always a source of concern, and the government was always ever anxious to pander to it.
Now, like I said, if you want me to read the entire book, the entire audio book, The Colonial System Unveiled, that book was released back in 1814 by the Haitian government, right? Listen, Baron de Vastey, he said this was especially true for the white women, who were even more tainted with prejudice, the majority of them being foul-mouthed jades or wretched creatures escaped from beset. Now, beset, I think that was like a mental hospital back in France, right? So he said, like I said, the European colonies, that's where the Europeans sent all their garbage, right? All the dregs of society, a lot of them went to the European colonies, right? So he said all them white women, they broke out the mental hospital and they sent them to the colonies, right? So he said the majority of them being foul-mouthed jades or wretched creatures escaped from beset, who were brought to our shores as a result of their shameful conduct. These vicious and arrogant women cannot look upon the adornments and beauty, the elegant forms, and the inexpressible charms of our incomparable Haitian women without a feeling of bitter dejection and fatal resentment. Listen, man, my man destroyed white women in that book, man. My man. Hey, rest in peace to the ancestor, bound in Vastey. Rest in peace to Vastey, man. Listen, he destroyed white women in that little paragraph right there, bro. Destroyed them, gave them one hook, boom, and went back to, crushing the white man right after that, bro. I'm telling you, go check out that book, The Colonial System Unveiled. Unfortunately, like I said, if you have the heart to, listen to that entire book, because like it said, this book laid out directly from, a person's direct perspective. Vastey, he interviewed those who suffered and had direct testimony suffering under the yoke of European colonialism, who suffered through the revolution, suffered through the massacres of the French military. He laid out their direct testimony in these books and actually named the names of the colonists who were responsible for the crimes. And guess what? A number of white women came up in that book. And in fact, I'll go on to say that the worst crime that I heard that was relayed in that book actually came from a white woman. I'm not even going to really repeat what they did, but let's just say, a underage black woman died, right? A woman who probably, 15, 16 years old, who was pregnant at the time, who was pregnant by her son. They killed her. I'm not really going to go in detail about how they killed her, but a white woman had ordered her death, because she got pregnant by her son, right? And then because she was so angry, they went and killed her. I'm not going to say how they killed her. Go listen to the book if you want to find out how they killed her. But like I said, man, they was right there, right? The white woman, she was right there. We're not going to let her sneak off and act like a victim. Nah, you was right there. Get out of here, man. That ancestor himself told us you was right there, right? He said you some foul-mouthed jades and wretched creatures escaped from the mental hospital, right? And then on top of that, he said, man, you ain't touching a black woman. You ain't touching a black woman, man. Get out of here, man. Because the black woman during that time, during the Haitian Revolution, that was the apex level black woman during that time, man. Then stood toe to toe with the black man, sword in hand, crushing European colonists, man. That was a different caliber of black woman that was alive during that time, baby. So, when Vastey wrote that book, he was speaking from a certain perspective, right? When he told the white woman, man, get out of here, bro. Get out of here with that. Vastey told the white woman, get out of here, bro. So, yeah, man, that's what it is, man. We're not about to let these modern feminists try to rewrite history. Nah, we're not going for that. We ain't going for that, man. We ain't going for that. Anyways, man, it's your boy Neferkari. That's Salim back in the Billy. Yes, indeed. Cash App in the description. Album out now. Cash App in the description. Support the channel, and I'm gone. Peace.
Told me she loved me and said that it's real. So independent, ain't signing no deal. Feel like a king and I'm up at Cap Henry. I'm in the citadel, top of the hill. Trying to run up but we let off a cannon. Secret location, I'm keeping it sealed. You ain't retaliate, Franco Medina. Came to the country and he got killed. You ain't retaliate, Rafi Mans. Thought you was loyal, thought you was real. Didn't even want to come pick up the body. Had your man locked up, he died in the cell. Up at the palace, I'm throwing a party. Right on the south and I'm giving them hell. And my little shorty, she looking exotic. African features, she casting a spell. Run to the check like I work on my fitness. Wake up each morning and handle my business. Say that she love me, she want my genetics. Wanna get married and make it official. Wanna get married and have my babies. Up in the city, I'm riding Mercedes. Up in the city, they treat me like royalty. Feeling like Dolph, talking about lords. Spreading my wings and I had to get fly. Up in the top, an incredible vibe. Came from the bottom, I'm up in the sky. Gave one look and said, baby, you fine. Wake up each morning and handle my business. They just be talking, you see me, I live it. Ride on my enemies, sounding like thunder. 1804, got that shit in my spirit. 1804 when I step in the building. 1804, that's word of my mother. Rock my women and die for my brother. Never gonna fall when I'm deep under pressure. Tell them we back and they better accept it. Move like a king, every step is divine. Ride on my enemies with no exception. Taking revenge and I'm taking what's mine. Pour up a drink and it's time that we toast. Watching my back, keep my enemies close. Only the family, I stick with my brothers. Cannons position outside of the coast. Heavy artillery for the protection. Move like a general, stick to the code. Feel like a king when I'm up in the north. Beautiful women, they trying to get chose. Launch an invasion all over the south. Capture the capital with all my woes. Look at my energy and my demeanor. Dripping that ice and that's head of my toes. Lately I'm flexing all on the Americans. Flexing my muscle on missing my road. Just got a carriage just coming from London. Boy, that shit cash, I ain't taking no loans. Boy, that shit cash, that's fresh on the boat. Enemy know I got millions in gold. Enemy know I got choppers and cannons. How did I do it? They can't understand it. How did I do it? It's cause I'm relentless. Call me King Harry, my name is cemented. Call me King Harry, I'm up in the palace. Call me King Harry, I'm raising the status.